Hello and welcome to this Adastra podcast. My name is Mark Cahoot, and I lead the North American governance practice for Adastra, a global data, AI, and cloud systems integrator. And we're coming to you today from Atlanta at the occasion of FabCon 2026. Joining us today, we have Brandon Ash, Director of Solution Engineering at Microsoft. Welcome, Brandon.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
In this role, Brandon works closely with enterprise leaders to help translate business priorities into practical technology strategies, connecting organizations with the right Microsoft experts, resources, and programs to support data and AI initiatives. Brandon plays a key role in orchestrating collaboration across Microsoft teams and partners, helping customers navigate complex transformations while ensuring they have the guidance, technical expertise, and strategic support needed to move forward with confidence. Why don't we start with a little bit about you? Can you share a little bit of your journey at Microsoft and into Microsoft and what led you to the role of Director of Solution Engineering?
Yeah, absolutely. It's been a fun ride. I'm like 16 years into the tech and data space. I'm a data nerd by nature, and so
the enthusiasm is there.
Absolutely. I think that I've always just been naturally curious, and even as a teenager, I was the one that was using Excel to organize spreadsheets for different things for school and volunteer opportunities that I was in and things like that.
The go-to guy.
Absolutely. So data, being in data and analytics was a natural fit. And so I got my start in consulting. And so I was the one that was doing the visualization layer and the semantic layer. It was before Power BI was in existence. So I used ClickView back in the day. And then moved on to learn Kimball data warehouse modeling and designing data warehouses and good database design. And so I helped a number of clients and customers build out their data warehouses and their data estates, mostly on SQL Server.
I find it really interesting that you started with the semantic layer.
I did.
Because it's coming back into focus and
Absolutely.
vogue with the needs of AI for context.
1,000%. I think that the semantic layer is more important than ever. And so those customers that have built that through tools like Power BI, they are most prepared for the era of AI. And now it's really about getting, they may have parts of their data that they've done that semantic layer on. But a lot of times that data is all over the place. And so that's where the OneLake story kind of comes into place of like unifying all of that data.
Right.
Yeah. And then being able to build that semantic intelligence on top of it.
Centralized governance around it, I take it as well. It's interesting because you started at the endpoint kind of thing, and then you went into the engineering of the guts, which I imagine is the structuring of solutions and doing the solution engineering.
Absolutely. So then I came to Microsoft about 6 years ago, and it was my first kind of foray into sales. But the neat thing about this role is we're not sellers, we're technical advisors that sit in the sales org. And really what my org does is help customers to solve the technical problems and be successful technically in the Azure space. And so we build trusted relationships with customers because my team is not necessarily trying to sell them anything. We just want them to build solid architecture so that they can be successful.
Identify what good looks like.
Absolutely.
So, interesting. Let's take that customer perspective and let me drill down on that a little bit. From what you're seeing on the ground today, and here we are at FabCon 2026, where we're talking about enabling technologies like OneLake security, right? Solving data segregation, role segregation, et cetera, around data. When you're working closely with executives, what's top of mind for them? Is the technology top of mind for them? What conversations about data and AI are you having in 2026? And I wonder which excite you the most as a solution engineer because of their transformational potential.
Yeah. What I see a lot of in my conversations with customers is they've kind of built their data estates. And a lot of times it's a very sprawling data estate where data is just everywhere. And they may have tried some governance, right? And they may have had some attempts to bring it all together, but there wasn't the same push to do that as there is now, because now they're getting so much pressure to move forward and be on the frontier of the AI era. And they're like, oh no, we have to do a whole bunch of catch up because our data state is all over the place.
Technical debt, governance,
1000%.
Semantic debt.
Yes.
Gotcha.
And so what I see is a lot of my customers and especially executives are like, oh, we've got to catch up. It's time to now pay down that technical debt. And how do I best do that to position us in this ever-changing landscape of AI where there's announcements of new features, every week, a lot of times. How can I position my organization to thrive and continue to succeed in that era? Where can I have a strong grounding and foundation to build upon?
Yeah.
I think that a lot of customers are a little bit scared of AI, right? Like, how do I know that these AI agents are going to, not expose a bunch of data that they're not, that we don't want out there? Where is all my data, and where is all my sensitive data? Like a lot of customers, like, they don't even have a handle on some of those basic fundamentals, and so that makes unleashing a bunch of agents against all of that data really kind of scary and risky. So I think what we're hearing customers say over and over again is we want to do more with AI, and what we've tried in little trials is exciting and we want to do more, but we've got to get our data estate in order.
Right. Let me make the cardinal SDLC mistake of solutioning before I have all my requirements in line. Staying with those executives, do you find that the kinds of solutions that you're coming up with are much more, are more on the side of cover the entire data estate, deal with all these issues, or a skunkworks approach, take a subset, take a little bit, build a platform, run with that?
I think that I honestly think the skunkworks model, it's traditionally been had a lot of advantages, I would say, because you're able to start small and then build and then build and then build.
Different success criteria.
Correct. Yep. Exactly.
Fail fast.
So show results and then expand, show more results. And I still think that's a great model. What is different about the Fabric and the OneLake story, right, is and Microsoft's platform story, is it actually enables you to do that skunkworks model, but against a foundation of having everything secured and governed at the base layer, right? So if we can get everything kind of unified, as far as all data unified, and you can do that piece by piece,
and add on to that,
right? It becomes this ever-growing kind of platform of, okay, I'm growing my unified data estate. I'm growing the portion of my data estate that's governed and secured, and have the semantic layer building more and more and more as you add more. And over time, that enables any data and any information that you're wanting to reason over in your organization to be at the fingertips of employees and AI agents.
And you can take a precision business case, use case driven approach to adding to that by the sounds of it.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Interesting. Let me turn to the process of solution development, how you work, and anchoring that in business objectives, right? A big part of your role is acting as a bridge, really, between Microsoft and customer leadership. How do you approach that conversation with customer executives when they're trying to shape their data and AI strategy, right at the very beginnings of the engagement before you get into the nitty-gritty? What concerns and challenges are you addressing most of the time at the C-suite level?
Yeah. So one, there's, it kind of depends on the organization. Obviously, as a solution engineer, I'm always going to say, it depends, right?
Of course.
But
that's what we consultants do.
Of course. What I see a lot though is there are a lot of organizations that try to almost go at it alone a little bit, right? Where, we're going to figure out these problems ourselves. And, we don't want to show our cards too much to any one vendor or things like that. And I understand that strategy of wanting to kind of be a little bit more protective and more guarded.
Yeah.
But what I see though, is that the customers that, have partners in their corner that are experts in what they do, and they build deep relationships with those partners. It's mutually beneficial, and they end up going way further, way faster than the customers that do it alone. I have some customers that we find out, they deployed Fabric, and we weren't involved. And that's great, and they can have some success there. But a lot of times we proactively then go and reach out to them and are like, hey, can we help? Can we help you be successful? And a lot of times it's like, no, we're going to figure it out. And then they get a year down the road.
I hear an until coming.
Until things start getting out of hand. And all of a sudden they have a Fabric environment that maybe wasn't built with some of the best practices that we would help customers kind of advise them to do. And it becomes this management nightmare, right? And then they have to go back and re-engineer a whole bunch of stuff. So it sets them back 6 months, maybe, or a year, because they have to re-architect all of that. And they basically incurred technical debt that they didn't really need to if they just utilize the resources that were available to them.
I'm hearing don't suffer in silence.
Don't suffer in silence. Let Microsoft help you. Let your account team help you. Let us connect you with partners that know this space, that are our preferred Fabric partners that do this over and over and over again every single day with customers. You're going to go further.
Consider your partners an extension of your core team, I guess.
Absolutely. And that's really we can't do what we do without partners. Microsoft's strategy is partner first, and we've kind of always been that way. So I think we just have a philosophy that we go further when we do it together. So.
I was going to ask you about partners and and integrators in that ecosystem, and you've brought it up. So let's drill down on that. How important is Microsoft's ecosystem in helping customers execute, move faster, and unlock value from their data platforms? How does that work?
Yeah, I think that more and more you're seeing Microsoft. We've had this whole evolution from being kind of a solution or a software company, right, to a platform company. And I think that our analytics story, you see that maybe more clearly than any other area, really, where you now see Fabric has its legacy in Power BI. We've had Power BI out on the market for over 10 years now. And then, but that was just the visualization and kind of semantic layer. And then there were all kinds of different piecemealed portions of the rest of the analytics story that we had, whether it was, Data Factory or Synapse or Databricks.
Individual capabilities
that you kind of had to string together. So bringing all of that into one software as a service, governed, secured capacity where you can do whatever you need to on the analytics side in one environment that's all integrated, that's all secured and governed. It like there's no other platform that can do that in the same way that you can with Microsoft. And then extending that even further where we're now getting into the operational side of things, right? Where now you can, with the real-time intelligence, with the ontology story, with Fabric IQ, not only can we look at the past, and then also the enterprise planning features that were announced just this morning at the keynote. Now you can, now you have capabilities to understand past, present, and future, and then respond to that. So it's not just intelligence on, okay, how can I make better decisions now? It's, I have an agent that has all of this context around past, present, future, and it knows the interconnected pieces of my business, and it can actually make decisions based on the parameters that I give it. And be almost like another employee, right? And so Fabric's actually
just another identity, really.
Just another identity.
Yeah.
I'll get to that in a minute too, but it's really moving Fabric from just analytics to, okay, now it's a whole analytic and operational platform. So, and I think we'll continue to see movement in that direction.
Could you just give me an example of what you mean, what an operational application is with a platform like Fabric?
Yeah. So an operational application is going to be something that is able to make actions based on, like real-time actions based on context from, again, past, present, and future. So in the keynote, they kind of made reference to, we had kind of Delta Airlines on stage, and they were, and then they showed some demos with the ontology and Fabric IQ around kind of the Zava airline, right? It's kind of, and you were able to map out the different entities. Like you have planes, and you have baggage, and you have pilots, and you have ground crews, and all these different entities that you can now build out within Fabric,
right?
And show the interconnected nature of all of those, the relationships between all of those, and it has the knowledge of all of that graph, the interconnectedness between all of those entities, and so now you can set parameters like, say, and
that is governed. I take it.
It's all governed, right? Yeah. And so it's based on data that it may live in another cloud. And it's just shortcutted into OneLake, right? But we have it governed and secured because OneLake is the only way you can get to that data, right?
Yeah.
So then you can set parameters like, okay, if the weather is, if you have only this much visibility, like we got to delay the flight, or stop the flight, right? And you can have agents that know all of those rules and those relationships, and it actually makes those decisions.
And you're doing that within Fabric IQ.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Right.
Yeah. So that's an example of maybe an operational use case.
Understood. Okay. Yeah. All right. Mm-hmm. So fair point, because as we transition to a world, to agentic workforces, we're creating another bridge, right, between analytics, data, into real-time decision-making.
Absolutely. And I think that that's another conversation we're having with customers a lot too, is what do I do with this idea of agents being almost like employees, right? Mm-hmm. How do I make sure that they're doing the things that I want them to, that they have...
This is the identity issue.
Exactly. That they only have access to the data that I want them to. And the question I often ask those customers is, well, when you have a new employee join, are you concerned about, how they are going to have access to the data and that they need to, and not have access to what they shouldn't see?
Mm-hmm.
No.
Rarely.
Yeah. Because you have all of that security model in place, right? And when I help customers think of an agent as just another identity
mm-hmm.
in their ecosystem, in their Entra ID, right, ecosystem, then it really becomes
intuitive, I suspect.
Yeah, it's like,
obvious. Okay.
Of course, I would just onboard that agent just like I would an employee and set exactly their permissions and their roles.
Their authority,
right. So it becomes a lot less scary as like, we do this the same way as we do a human person that we might bring onto our workforce. And then when you think about the ontology and things like that, then you kind of start to think, okay, well then how do I onboard an employee, a human employee, and teach them my business, right? Well, that's the same thing we need to do with agents, right? Is teach them, okay, here's how this and this and this interact with each other. And here's how you know when you need to make this decision or that decision. And you're basically training these agents to do the same thing.
I was quite fascinated by the notion of grounding the agents in historical business decisions.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
I'm sort of cascading from where we started, which was the executive, sort of that C-suite level view. Let's talk about translating business objectives into solutions.
Mm-hmm.
And I think what a lot of executives are concerned about is which expertise is needed in order to help an organization succeed. And I'm curious what the engagement between Microsoft experts and your client teams contributes to building out the needed expertise to deploy all this good stuff.
Absolutely. And I think that it's a very competitive market out there from a human talent perspective, right? I think that we just have a workforce that, a lot of people are not on that cutting edge of being ready necessarily for the skills required to be in this era of AI, right?
Or maybe theoretically literate because we're all reading it, we're all following it every day, but maybe not, hands-on.
Right, exactly.
With intuition and experience.
Absolutely. And so I think with that market scarcity, right, I think that more than ever, it's a chance to rely on the partners that have that talent, right? That precious talent that's scarce out there.
Yeah.
And think that the customers that are able to do that are able to see that translation of business objectives to value the quickest.
So it's not just know-how, but it's know-how fast now.
Exactly.
Let me keep drawing out there, Brandon, on not suffering in silence. Microsoft, how can Microsoft make that happen? You offer a variety of programs and funding initiatives to help your customers accelerate their transformation. How do these programs help them de-risk and move faster with their data and AI agendas?
Yeah, I mean, I think that a lot of times I want to help customers know how to be customers, right? Because there is a lot available to customers from a program perspective, from an investment perspective, where we want to help customers be successful and co-invest with them in that. And a lot of times it's just hard for customers to navigate. And when they have folks like my team that are assigned to certain customers, building that relationship and almost like asking like, hey, how can you help us get there faster? How can Microsoft invest like we love that question, because we know that those customers are the ones that are wanting to they're wanting to go further, and they're wanting to deepen the partnership with us, and we want to help them get there. And so there's so many programs and so much investment that's available to customers to help them be successful, to help them realize the value in these solutions that are solving their business objectives. So
you come to the table with quite a number of arrows in your quiver, so to speak.
Absolutely. There's a lot that we can do. There's a lot of very creative things that I've seen us be able to do with partners, and with our customers. And I think that the box that we often think of is a lot bigger maybe than customers realize it is.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Brandon, as we come to a close, lightning round, for executives listening today, extract some nuggets from you who are looking to advance their data and AI strategy. What advice would you give them as they think about the building blocks and capabilities they need, about building the right team, technology, and partnerships? What are your takeaways for them?
Yeah, that's a great question. I would say one, find the partners that can help you get there, and build deep relationships with them. I think I'm just a strong believer in we go further together, right? And I've seen that over and over again with customers, the customers that have the trusted advisors that they bring into their organization. And sometimes we tell them, this is not good. Like we have to rebuild. And the ones that listen to that and take that advice, and then take even the co-investment that we bring to the table to help them potentially refactor some of that and get on the right path. They just go so much further. And so I think for customers, going into this era of AI that is very unknown, you want to have partners like Microsoft, like Adastra, that have done this for many, many, many years, that have been helping customers build data platforms that have the platform that they can count on to take them into the next era. Those are the people that they want in their corner.
This has been an insightful and very direct conversation, Brandon. Thank you very much. I'm taking away a lot in terms of what I sort of flippantly referred to as the governed skunkworks. But I think just unpacking that, what that means is, the opportunity that Fabric's evolution with things like OneLake security right now offer companies in a fresh start to start small and building out in a sort of a stepwise fashion in a governed environment, in a controlled environment. I'm also taking away how we saw exactly through this conversation of, how agents link the analytical and the operational world. So thank you very much for these insights, and also for letting our audience know again that again, don't suffer in silence. There's a secret weapon in working with an extended teams of integrators, partners, and providers like Microsoft. So thank you very much.
Absolutely. It was a pleasure.
And to our audience, if you've enjoyed today's discussion, please like and subscribe to this Adastra podcast series for more insights on data, AI, and partner-led innovation. Until the next time, thanks for listening, and so long for now from FabCon 2026 in Atlanta.